What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the lab with another quest build. I've been wondering if you can make this build name on a bigger type player, and while I was tinkering in one of the rarest trees in all of 2K23, the shoot first name, I ended up discovering that you can make this archetype at any position on a bigger behemoth type player. You can make this at any position, point guard all the way to center. I'm gonna make it at small forward just to give you guys a blueprint with specs that can be made at each position. Think of it as a blue and green pie chart. It can absolutely shoot the pill and be the primary creator for any team that's playing on. If you're a point guard, you're gonna be able to control the tempo of the game, be able to score at will and make plays all around the wood. If you're a big man, you're gonna be undersized, yet you're gonna be an absolute nightmare for opposing defenses to handle this build. It really has shades across the board from Paul George, my favorite player of all time, Joe Johnson, and Luka in today's game. This is the first ever 6'8" version of the versatile offensive force. This is one of my favorite names in all of 2K23 this year, but every video I've seen, every blueprint is a little peanut, 6'1" Allen Iverson type player. That's not really what I'm about. On this channel, I'm bringing a little bit more rarity and not just trying to cookie cutter, copy ISO little guards. Nothing wrong with a smaller type build, but if everyone just makes the same version of that build just to make a video, what's the point of me uploading that? So I wanted to see if you can make this bigger, and we found them. Like I said, I'm going to make this a small forward. Feel free to make it at any position that you want, depending on your play style. So jumping right in, you're going to be a small forward. You're going to be 6'8", 230 pounds with a 7'2" wingspan. And you know we're going body shape built because we want to be menacing on the wood and on the creep. We're going 6'8" and 230 because you can make that at the point guard all the way to a smaller center. Feel free to drop the weight to make them quicker. Feel free to up the weight to up the strength. But 6'8" is going to be the cap of how tall you can make this build. Unfortunately, if you go above 6'8", you're not going to get the ball handle necessary to get this name. But 6'8" is going to be a well-rounded height for any position. So jumping right in, follow along to a T to get this name because it is extremely specific. If you tinker one little thing, it might change it to an offensive threat, might change it to an all-around threat, a shoot first anything, or a 3-level shot creator. A lot of rare names in this tree, but I have yet to see someone this big and this menacing with this name. So tinker at your own discretion in your builder, but here's the blueprint. We're gonna get the close shot to an 85. You definitely need that. You're gonna get your driving layup to a 92. Your driving dunk to a 72. That's gonna be it for finishing. It doesn't really have a post game. You're not gonna have post scoring moves on this build, but you're gonna be able to slash, and the layup packages on this are crazy. So this build has a lot of Joe Johnson from a finishing standpoint. We're not really allocating more towards dunk. If you do, your driving layup goes up as well. You don't have a ton of attributes to allocate to get post scoring on this build, but 16 finishing is going to allow you to unlock those tier 3 badges. If you go +4, you can definitely get some slithery or limitless takeoff, do your thing. But shooting, this is where this build's absolutely bananas. At 6'8", you're going to get that mid-range and your 3 ball to an 88 apiece, a la the shoot first archetype on this game. Then we're going to get our free throw to a 79. There's some extra attributes that you can allocate. You can throw it at free throw, you can throw it at stamina, do whatever you need to do. That's going to give us 27 shooting badges. You're going to have a lot of options with this build on how to allocate your badges. Tier 1 Hall of Fame everything. You're going to get some nice tier 3 badges, and 88 midi and 3. For those of you who don't know your jumper, this could really help out in allowing you to kind of finally have that jump shot on this game. Knock a couple jumpers down on the perimeter. And then playmaking, again, it's absolutely disgusting. We're going to max out our ball handle and speed with ball off rip. Those are badge threshes. You don't need speed with ball, doesn't really matter, I don't believe, for the name, but your ball handle needs to at least be an 88, I do declare, but we're going to go 89 for that badge thresh. And then to get this name, you need to pass actually to an 86. If you drop it below, it becomes an offensive threat. And to get this versatile offensive force name, it's basically a diming build. That's going to give you 24 playmaking badges. If you do make this at the 4 or the 5, make them girthier. Don't prioritize speed with ball per se. You're going to have less badges, but you definitely are always going to have ball handle on this build. 24 playmaking badges on this build with Hall of Fame quick first step and Hall of Fame dimer. Gonna be a nasty playmaker. Got some Larry Legend, Larry Bird, that Luka in this build. And so the shooting and playmaking are definitely the strengths when playing on something like this. And then defensively, we're not going to necessarily be a slouch. You're going to get your interior defense to an 81. Then you get your perimeter defense to a 73. We're going to punt block on this build because that's, there's just not enough attributes to really get block. And that's kind of a specialty thing in this game anyways. But we are going to help out on the glass. We're going to get our defense rebounds to a 74. That's going to give us 12 defensive badges. Defense is not the emphasis on this build, but I did want to allocate enough to be able to get a decent number, and also to just be able to play just fundamental defense, stay in front of your man, not be a complete liability from an attribute standpoint. We're not getting stealies and blocks, we're not being able to grab every rebound. So positioning and IQ defensively is really what matters most on a build like this. And so hopefully you've got some goons behind you, some Dennis Rodman types or some Tyson Chandlers, to really be able to kind of make up for it defensively. But you're going to be able to play good defense if you're good at the game. It just doesn't really give you those special stealies and blocks, and it's not going to dominate necessarily. And then physicals, this is where you can allocate a little bit, depend on what your playstyle is. You're going to get our speed and acceleration to a 75. You can go higher or lower depending on what you really want. We're going to get our strength to a 60, our vertical to a 65, and then the rest on stamina to an 86. So giving this build a once-over, 16 finishing, 27 shooting, 24 playmaking, and 12 defensive badges. Some of the name threshes that are most important: you need that close shot to an 85, you need a driving layup around a 92. Midi and 3-ball, you need that to be an 88 or higher. Your ball handle needs to be an 89 with pass accuracy at an 86. And that's basically how you get this versatile offensive force name. Again, you can't make this taller, but depending on your play style, you can allocate a lot to speed and acceleration. I would love to see this kind of build somehow with like max strength, if that's any way possible. Vertical, 65 might seem a little low, but that is a specific number for some of the dunk packages. But we're not really trying to yam on this build. We're going to be more of an outside scoring, playmaking threat that can play good fundamental defense and can finish with nice layup packages inside. Overall, I think this could be a real key cog in any offense, especially at the rec. You're going to have to account for this build whenever they're on the wood. If this build gets loose and gets hot, it's an easy 30 and 10 type of build, and it's not an absolute liability on defense. But going to the takeovers, you can get finishing, shot creating, shooting, and playmaking. I actually like doing like advanced gathers and then easy blow-bys on this build, just making this really be able to attack the rim, because you can already shoot, you can already play make, and then adding that could just take it to the next level. Then you're going to end up with one of the rarest names in all the game, the versatile offensive force. At 6'8", absolutely gruesome. Let me know down in the comments if this build is worth investing in to get this super rare name. What would you make of that? Is this more of a point guard Luka build in your eyes? Is it Joe Johnson at the 2? Is it Carmelo Anthony at the 3? Paul George undersized at the 4? Or is this like a Larry Johnson type, freak Bam Adebayo at the 5? This build could be played at the park, in the rec, in the theater. Get your popcorn ready, find some loose change in the couch cushions, and is this worth investing some of that hard-earned VC? Let me know down in the comments. You know what time it is. Quest Sparrow bringing that heat this year.